What's going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the Chatting with Cheese podcast. I'm your host, Fat Cheese, and y'all already know the motto, no gimmicks, only the real. And this is episode 84. Now, before we get started, y'all know what I need from y'all. I need for y'all to smash that subscribe button. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like and share the content when it drops. And let's go ahead and jump right into it. So we're going to kick it off from last night. Round 2 of the NBA playoffs officially kicked off, and we had two bangers last night, and one of them was a banger. The other one was a complete blowout, but I'm gonna make sure that I cover both of the games from last night, and we actually have two games going on right now. You have the Cleveland Cavaliers playing the Detroit Pistons, and you have the Los Angeles Lakers playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. So that's how y'all know how much I care about y'all. I'm actually recording in the middle of two playoff games, but I got to get this content out for y'all. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, man, and I hope y'all enjoy. So first, we're going to start off with the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers, who kicked the round 2 of the NBA playoffs off yesterday, and the New York Knicks won in great fashion with a blowout, and I'm going to dive right into it. But first, I'm going to get into the topic, and that is, are the Knicks the most dangerous team in the playoffs currently? So I want y'all to comment down below and let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think the Knicks are the most dangerous team in the playoffs right now? I'm going to read off my stuff that I got, and then I'm going to let y'all know how I feel. So the New York Knicks crushed the Philadelphia 76ers in Game 1, winning by 39 in their Eastern Conference semifinal series. New York took control early, going up 23 by halftime. Jalen Brunson hit a buzzer-beater 3 to close out the half and finish with 35 points on great shooting. The game was such a blowout that both teams sat their starters in the fourth. The lead grew up to 34 in the third, and Philly never had a chance. Paul George led the Sixers with 17 points, and their last lead came early in the first quarter. Game 2 stays in New York on Wednesday at Madison Square Garden. The biggest difference was defense. The Knicks made life hard for Joel Embiid, sending double teams and mixing things up. The only thing he did really well was draw fouls early. After that, Philly struggled. On the other end, the Knicks went right at Embiid. They kept pulling him into pick and roll plays, and he couldn't move well enough to keep up. That led to open looks, especially for Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a big change from the last series. Boston didn't force Embiid to move much on defense, but the Knicks are making him work every play, and this showed. Bottom line, this is a much tougher matchup for Embiid and the Sixers. If Game 1 is any sign, they've got a lot to fix going into Game 2. So my thoughts on the Knicks' victory yesterday over the Philadelphia 76ers. I'm going to first start with the topic at hand. No, I do not feel like the Knicks are the most dangerous team in the playoffs. I still would give that title to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But I do think the Knicks are a dangerous team, and I think that whoever wins this series, I think will be the team that will represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals. I just think the Knicks came into the game yesterday with a great game plan. I think the game plan was make Joel Embiid move, make Joel Embiid work, and they did that. I think just like what the article said, I believe that this series is going to be different for Joel Embiid because of the fact that he played Boston last series, and they don't really have any big men that's a threat outside of the paint. So that's right in Joel Embiid's wheelhouse. He could sit down below, bang bodies, and do what he loves to do, his bread and butter. In this series, it's a complete, total different story with Karl-Anthony Towns, a big man who can stretch the floor, who can get past you, you know what I'm saying, who can beat you off the dribble, who can do things like that. I think this series right here for Joel Embiid is going to be a rough one, and I think that the Knicks came in with a great game plan. Jalen Brunson came out and had a phenomenal game. He gave you 35 points, and I think the game really just got busted open in the second quarter. I think in the second quarter, the Knicks finally figured out what they were gonna do. They got that lead. They ballooned that lead up, and then once Jalen Brunson hit that buzzer beater to go into halftime, the lead was already, blown open. But I think right there, that kind of was just the back blow to the Philadelphia 76ers. They never really truly had their rhythm. Maxey really didn't give you too much. Paul George had 17, but Joel Embiid wasn't an impact. In order for the Philadelphia 76ers to compete and try to win this series, Joel Embiid is going to have to be an impact, and they're going to have to come up with ways and game plans to where he could be effective. Now, I'm not going to overreact to the Game 1 blowout because the Philadelphia 76ers are coming off of a Game 7. They did just have to come back from down 3-1 against a tough Boston team. So a little bit of fatigue could have played into that. I'm not going to give them too many excuses. A loss is a loss. I do believe they'll bounce back, and it'll be just my luck. They'll win tomorrow, the day before this episode is supposed to drop. So I don't know how to go, but I think this is going to be a hell of a series. But moving back onto the New York Knicks, I don't think the New York Knicks are the most dangerous team in the playoffs right now, but I think they are a very dangerous team, and I think that they have a shot to come out of the Eastern Conference just because the offensive firepower that they do have when they are clicking on all cylinders. Jalen Brunson gave you 35 points yesterday. OG Anunoby contributed with 18 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist. He was 7 of 8 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. Mikal Bridges, he's woken up. You started to see that late in the Atlanta Hawks series, and hopefully, and it looks like it is transferred to this series. He had 17 points yesterday, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. Karl Anthony Towns, who I just spoke of, 17 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 7 of 11 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3. And then Josh Hart being that glue guy, crashing the glass, doing all the dirty work. He had 8 points, 8 rebounds with 6 assists. And I just think that the biggest thing to this game yesterday was they just hunted Joel Embiid and made Joel Embiid work. They said the game plan looked like to me that they came in and said we will not allow Joel Embiid to just be comfortable and dictate the ball game. We're going to come in, we're going to be physical, we're going to put him in the pick and roll, we're going to attack him on defense. And on the offensive side of the ball, they had some slow rotations over to some doubles that turned into double teams. And I think they just came in with a great game plan. I love the game plan yesterday. Now we just have to see, will it materialize throughout the remainder of this series? It's a long series. Philadelphia is not going to lay down. Knicks have to do their job and protect the home court. And they did what they were supposed to do by winning Game 1. For me, all series to me start at Game 2. Game 2 to me is the most important game in the series. So we'll see if Philly can bounce back tomorrow. If not, going back to Philly down 0-2, things can get tricky. But I think Philly could make this series interesting, and I think they are. I think this series we could possibly be looking at 6 or 7 games. But I don't think the Knicks are the most dangerous team in the playoffs. I would still give that title to OKC. I think Minnesota is a little more dangerous right now than the Knicks, but the Knicks are playing some very good basketball. They playing some very good basketball with Jalen Brunson leading the charge. And Jalen Brunson got a chance to do something. You know what I'm saying? He could shut me up, because I'm going to be real with you. I was one of those people that said, I don't believe you could win a championship with Jalen Brunson as your best player. I think Jalen Brunson is a great player. I think Jalen Brunson, he's a star. He's an all-star, but I don't think Jalen Brunson is the guy that can be the best player on the championship winning team, and he has a chance to prove me wrong. I mean, he played phenomenal last night, and if he could lead the Knicks through this series, I believe the winner of this series will head to the NBA Finals. So I can't wait to see how this thing turns out, but the Knicks, it's not really too much to say. The Knicks looked dominant yesterday. They looked dominant. I mean, coming out and winning by 39 points, That's amazing, especially after coming off of a big victory that they had against Atlanta before they sent them home. You know what I'm saying? So to turn around and do the same thing in Game 1 in Philly, New York Knicks fans should be very excited about that, and I can't wait to see how the rest of this series turn out. But y'all let me know, what do y'all believe? Do y'all believe the New York Knicks right now currently are the most dangerous team in the playoffs, just based off of their last 2 performances against the Hawks in round 2 against Philly? Do y'all think right now New York look like the most dangerous team in the playoffs? Leave your comment down in the comment section and let me know what y'all think. Next up, we're going to move to Game 2 of last night of round 2, the kickoff round 2, which was the Minnesota Timberwolves versus the San Antonio Spurs. And the topic that I have for y'all on this one is Minnesota was able to squeak out Game 1. They're up 1-0. They won a game in San Antonio. You know what everybody say, a series don't start until the road team wins a game. They did that yesterday. So my topic for this one is, what are the keys for Minnesota to win this series. Not just win some games, but to actually win this series. So the second round of the 2026 NBA playoffs got started Monday night, and game one between the Minnesota Timberwolves and San Antonio Spurs did not disappoint. Coming into the game, all eyes were on Anthony Edwards. He had been dealing with the knee injury he picked up in the first round and even missed the last two games of that series. But in game one, he made his return. Even though he came off the bench and was on a minute restriction, Edwards gave the Timberwolves a big spark, dropping 18 points and helped lead them to a 104-102 win on the road. On the other side, Victor Wembanyama had a historic night. He set a new NBA playoff record with 12 blocks and also recorded a triple-double. He finished the game with 11 points, 15 rebounds, 12 blocks, and 5 assists. He even threw down a big dunk late in the game to hit that triple-double. But despite the incredible performance, it wasn't enough as Minnesota was able to steal game one. For me, in this series, this is another thing that I'm going to say I'm not going to overreact to. Minnesota went on a road and they played a phenomenal game. They did everything that they were supposed to do to steal a game on the road. And now, you know what I'm saying, they have the Spurs backs up against the wall. For Victor Wembanyama, I know I read that last sentence, but I don't believe it was an incredible game. I think he did do some amazing things on defense, but he shot the ball very poorly last night. He went 0 of 8 from the three-point line. I don't know if we're going to continue to see that in this series, but that was something big last night that the Spurs didn't shoot the ball well as a team yesterday. And for them to still lose only by 2 points, I think that says a lot. But to me, the keys of victory for Minnesota is just do what you did last night. Be physical. I know Rudy Gobert gets a lot of slack for, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why. People just like to hate on Rudy Gobert, but what Rudy Gobert has been able to do defensively in these playoffs, not just against Wemby yesterday, but even in the Denver series, Rudy Gobert has been amazing in these playoffs, and he's showing you why he's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. But I just think, number one, the main thing is the physicality. On the defensive end, Minnesota is one of the best defensive groups in the league, and they're showing you that. They showed you that in round one, and they showed it to you yesterday. Another thing is the clutch shots. Yesterday they made some big shots. Anthony Edwards contributed. He gave them 11 points. He gave them 11 of 18 late points yesterday. Julius Randle hit some big time buckets for them yesterday. And they just made more big shots than San Antonio. San Antonio was able to turn Minnesota over last night, but I just feel like they wasn't able to counter off of those turnovers. They wasn't able to make do of those turnovers that they got. But on the Minnesota side, I think the physicality, the clutch shots, and I think those are the two biggest things that they're going to need in order to ultimately win this series. Another thing for me, I always tell y'all, the biggest key for me in the playoffs is the role players. Can your role players step up when they need to step up? Julius Randle had a very good game yesterday, 21 points. Anthony Edwards contributed with 18. Jaden McDaniels gave you 16, and Terrence Shannon Jr. gave you 16. Terrence Shannon Jr. is staying hot from that game 7 he had against the Denver Nuggets a couple days ago. So shout out to Terrence Shannon Jr. But yeah, I think the biggest key to victories for them is the depth. What can they get from their depth? Like I said, guys like McDaniels, guys like Terrence Shannon, guys like Julius Randle, Rudy Gobert, Bones Highland, guys like that. Can they contribute? I think if those guys can contribute enough, I think Minnesota can ultimately win this series. Another thing is I just think experience. Experience is going to play a big factor in this series. You know, Minnesota has been there. They've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. So this is not a team that's not familiar with, you know, playing these type of games and what to do late in ball games when they get close in the playoffs. You kind of could see that yesterday. You kind of could see the clutch shots the clutch shot making by Minnesota, and that last possession by the Spurs where I like the shot from Champagnie. I think that was a good look. You can't ask for a better look than that. I didn't mind the shot at all, but you kind of could see it was a little confusion whether to call a timeout or not. I don't blame them for not calling a timeout, and honestly, I like the shot. He just ultimately missed, but to me, that wasn't that. To me, I'm not upset with that, but I think experience is going to be huge in this series as well. But I'm going to be real with you. Minnesota, they did what they were supposed to do. And for Anthony Edwards to be dealing with the knee injury, people not knowing whether he would play or not, for him to come out and play and look the way that he looked yesterday, that's gotta be a huge confidence booster for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And I think those will be their keys to victory: the physicality on defense, the clutch shot making, the role players stepping up, and just the overall experience of the team. But I'm not going to overreact to game one. Like I said, I think the Spurs are all around good team, and for them to have a bad shooting night like they did from some of their best players and still only lose by 2 points, and for it to come down to that, if I'm them, I'm not holding my head down at all, because I know if I'm them, I still believe that, okay, we dropped this one at home. Let's handle business game 2 and then go on the road and try to get home court advantage back. But for an example, yesterday, Wemby went 5 of 17 from the field. I spoke on it earlier, 0 of 8 from 3. Vassell, 5 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from 3. Fox, 5 of 14 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3. Those are your top dogs. When your top dogs are not shooting the ball well, it's just one of those nights. And I think Minnesota was able to take advantage of that because their guys were shooting well, and it just went like that. But I'm not going to overreact to the Spurs losing that game. I still think this is going to be a hell of a series. But those are my keys to victory for Minnesota, what I named. And I think Minnesota, if they can just do what they did yesterday, you already stole a game in San Antonio. Now, Spurs, y'all better not let them steal game 2. Because if y'all let them steal game 2, then it's ugly. Because it's going to be hard to go on the road and win. So the Spurs need to handle business game 2. Go on the road, tied up 1-1, and then, you let everything play out from there. But Minnesota had a hell of a ball game yesterday. They end up sneaking game 1, and those are my keys to Minnesota winning this total series outright, not just a couple of games. But that's it for that. Y'all let me know down below, who do y'all think is going to win that series? Do you think Minnesota, now that they won game 1, do you think that they're going to ultimately win the series? Or do you think the Spurs will bounce back, win game 2, and ultimately win the series? Y'all let me know what y'all think down below. And lastly, I'm going to give y'all my round 2 predictions, just because, round 2 is already kicked off, man. Trust me, when these playoffs going on, man, you gotta be pumping that content out, man. So I'm going to give y'all my round 2 my round 2 NBA playoff predictions, and then we'll see how they turn out. I don't think I did too good in round 1. Well, I know I picked Cleveland, I picked Denver, I was wrong on that. I picked Detroit, I was right on that. I think I did pretty. I picked Boston, I was wrong on that. Who else? I can't think of right now, but I think I did pretty good. It probably was like 50-50. So we'll see how I do on my round 2 predictions. So I got the Knicks over the Philadelphia 76ers. The Knicks won game 1. I just think this is a bad matchup for Philly, just because I think Joel Embiid, I think they're going to try to exploit Joel Embiid, and I think they're going to make Joel Embiid work. And I think this is a bad matchup for Philly, and I think just with the offensive firepower that the Knicks have, I think Philly guys like Tyrese Maxey, who had a bad shooting night last night. Also, VJ Edgecombe, Paul George, and all those boys, they're going to have to play a lot better. I think that series we could look up, and it wouldn't shock me if that series is going to 6 or 7 games. But for right now, I'm going to go with the New York Knicks, and I think the New York Knicks win this series in 6 games. Next up, I have the Cavaliers over the Pistons. That series right there for me is pretty tricky. The only reason why I'm going to go with the Cavs is because the offensive firepower. If James Harden can get it going, what Donovan Mitchell's going to give you. Evan Mobley, if he can get it going. You seen what Jared Allen was able to do in that Game 7 versus the Raptors. I just think that on the Detroit side of things, Cade Cunningham, if he doesn't have that help, Tobias Harris stepped up big in that Game 7 versus Orlando. If he could carry that over into this series and those other guys can step up, I don't know. This one was a toss-up for me, but I'm going to go with Cleveland in this one. It wouldn't shock me if that series ended up going 7 either, but I'm going to go with Cleveland. I think Cleveland get them out of there in 6 games as well. Next up, I'm going to go with the Oklahoma City Thunder over the Lakers. And I think people are just counting the Lakers out a little bit too soon. People are acting like the Lakers have no chance. It wouldn't shock me if the Lakers snuck a game or two, just because I think without J-Dub, even though OKC did blow them out a couple times in the regular season, I still think that, without J-Dub, I think the Lakers, the Lakers look, if they can just play well enough defensively and they can get the contribution from the other guys, I think the Lakers could win a couple games, but I got OKC winning this series regardless anyway. But I just think that with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the rest in that crew, it's for me when I talk about OKC, for me it's not it don't even be about the offensive side. It just be about the way that they can suffocate you on defense. That's to me what make them guys so special, But I think if you can get guys like Rui Hachimura, who had a good series against the Rockets, Marcus Smart, what's my man name? I'm forgetting his name. I'm not even going. But DeAndre Ayton, LeBron James. If you can get, you know what LeBron's going to give you. Austin Reeves is going to have to turn back into himself. You know what I'm saying? But I think that I think the Lakers can get a couple of games, but I think OKC get them out of there. I'm gonna be honest. I think OKC gets them out of there in 5. I can see the Lakers maybe sneaking a game, but I think OKC gets them out of there in 5 games. And last but not least, I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Timberwolves over the San Antonio Spurs. And the reason why I'm gonna go with that is because I think just experience. That's the only reason. I think that, like I said before, Minnesota has been here. Minnesota has been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. They know the magnitude of these games. They know they're used to that playoff atmosphere, whereas though I still think the San Antonio Spurs are scratching the surface. And I just think that the game plan is going to be physical, and try to rattle Wemby. Don't allow Wemby to get comfortable. Force him into some uncomfortable shots. And I think this series right here is what Rudy Gobert was built for. I think this series right here. So I'm gonna go with the Wolves, and I think I'm gonna say the Wolves win this series in 7. I'm gonna say the Wolves win this series in 7. I went with Denver in the last series. I kind of didn't think that Minnesota would make it out of that one, but they did. And I like Minnesota, man. I just think they a well-rounded basketball team. I like Minnesota a lot. So I'm gonna go with Wolves in 7, OKC in 5, Cavs in 6, and Knicks in 6. Y'all let me know down below, for those of y'all that check this episode out, do y'all agree with my predictions? Do y'all think, would y'all flip some teams? Y'all let me know what y'all think, man. And I'm going to go ahead and close this episode out. I appreciate y'all for tapping in with me each and every week. Y'all know where to find me. Like I said, do not forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are on the road to 500 subscribers. Also, do not forget to like and share the content when it drops. Leave a comment. Get me in the algorithm, man. I appreciate y'all. And I see y'all next time.